Hello, this is Ken Ferrie with this week's Boots in the Field report. Even as crappy as the weather has been this past week, several of you have been able to get some beans in the ground. The crew was able to get a couple of early bean plots planted. One plot was a comparison of no-till and strip-till in corn stalks. The goal was to plant when conditions were fit, or as fit as they need to be for soybeans, comparing these two practices. The strip-till was ready and planted nice on April 12th, while the no-till was just too wet to plant. The no-till was close on the 20th, but rain has knocked us out again. With the forecast outlook, we may not get the no-till planted next week. In this plot, we are planting 3 bean maturities, a 4-6, a 3-4, and a 2-6. Now to get that 4-6 bean to flower, again based on historical weather patterns, to get it to flower pre-solstice, it needs to be planted by April 19th here at Hayworth. Now this window is most likely closed to get our group 4s to flower pre-solstice from this point on. We still have time on the 3-4s. According to Matt's charts, we got to about May 6th, and our group 2s until about May 20th. This, of course, is assuming normal historic weather trends. There hasn't been a lot of normal yet this spring. In this plot, with no-till not being fit to plant, it has narrowed our window of success in achieving pre-solstice flowering in our group 4s, which pre-solstice flowering would widen the reproductive window on these full season beans. Now, this may also be the case on our mid-season beans if we don't get them planted next week. The issue is trying to get enough dry days together to dry the soil under 250 bushel corn residue from last year in the no-till portion of this plot. Where we strip-tilled, the soil was free of residue, and that allowed a lot less drying time needed to get this strip ready to plant into. Now the plan in this plot is to repeat these 3 maturities in both no-till and strip-till at a more normal planting window the second week in May. Now in our past trials, we haven't seen enough yield gain to pay for the strip-tilling in the beans. But this year, strip-till could end up making a 2, maybe 3 week difference in planting dates, and that will affect yield. One of the tricks to getting early planted soybeans is to strike when the iron is hot. And to do that, we not only have to have the equipment ready, but the field needs to be ready as well. Tilled fields need to be leveled, burn down and pre-emergence plans need to be ready, and the fields need to be dry enough. And of course, that's where the tile comes in. Most of you guys reporting that you're planting out there in well-drained farms. Now you can plan to plant a poorly drained, wet farm early, but the odds are going to work against you most years. A lot of you have been referencing Matt's presentation on our website to decide when to switch to Plan B on these early beans. Now, Matt's presentation is a good source to help you with that. If you haven't viewed it, go to our website, click on the Tools tab, and then go to the early beans. Now, our instructions when planting in the normal planting window is to plant your early maturing beans first, finish with your full season beans. Now, this is flip-flopped on early planting. We recommend planting your full season beans first and finishing with your earlier maturities. Now this is due to the window closes quicker on those full season beans to get pre-solstice flowering to happen. Now depending on where you live, it may be time to pull out of your full season beans and plant your mid and early season beans first when we get back in the field, and then finish with your full seasons. This is one of those years where we must take these planting windows an hour at a time. So when the window opens, grab it. But let's not take our eye off the ball. When conditions turn, When conditions are a go for corn and your operation cannot plant them both at the same time, we need to pull out of beans and get that corn planted. Growers have asked, how many bushel a day are we losing after April 21st, which is kind of considered the optimal date for corn? And there's all kinds of theories on this. Most of them have it pegged at about a bushel a day. Now, this is only true if conditions were perfect for corn and we didn't get it planted. Mudding corn into wet, cold soils April 20th could easily cost you 30 bushel. In this event, you could have waited till May 20th and ended up with the same yield and a lot less replant. Now, of course, there would be some drying cost to consider in that picture as well. A stand that doesn't come up at all, of course, that's pretty easy to make a replant call on. Corn mudded into cold, wet conditions is more likely to give us 2/3 of a stand, and that makes replant calls a lot tougher. With today's corn prices, it will trigger replant calls a lot quicker, meaning if you were planting 36,000, hoping for a 35,000 ear count, but you end up with 26,000 ear count due to your planting conditions. Now, that may not pay to replant in $4 corn, but in $7 corn, you're going to have to give replant some serious consideration at that point. So boys, let's keep the powder dry on the corn. Be ready to plant when the time comes. And even though the window may be closing on getting early planted beans to flower pre-solstice, if you're going to push conditions, do it with the beans, not with the corn. Looks like we may have to plant this crop a half a day at a time. To stay up to date, check out our website at croptechinc.com and subscribe to our podcast, Boots in the Field Report. Keep her safe, keep her moving.